Hello, everyone. I'm Annie Gibbins, and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success, and what they have learnt along the way. Well, welcome everybody to Memoirs of Successful Women. And today I am super excited to be interviewing Patricia Jo Grover, who we'll call Patty since we're all friends now. And she is a goal achievement strategist. She's also a published author, a public speaker, consultant coach, mentor. She's all about helping people achieve their goals. She's what we call a super queen of goal achievement. So lovely to have you join me on this program today, Patricia.
Well, Annie, thank you so much. You and I are like, two peas from a pod. We do very much the same thing, and we're just on other ends of the world. So
Yeah.
it's fantastic, and I always enjoy being with you and spending time chatting because we have so much that we could just go on and on about.
It's so true. For those listening, I was on Patty's show a while ago, and as we were chatting away, I'm like going, oh my gosh, I feel like I've met a soul sister from the other side of the world. We're just totally aligned in so many ways. We've got the same passions for the businesses that we have, and it's super cool. That's what I totally love about the world of women who collaborate rather than compete. We're out there doing our thing, and we just totally, when we align, it's actually a real joy and a real blessing to hear that other people are out there, doing a similar thing in the space, which to me is just fantastic. I just applaud it. So, thank you for
Yeah.
saying that. Let's talk about you today, then, Patty. So,
Oh,
tell me all about what you're doing now. So you've got your Patty J. Grover show. Let's start with the show
yes.
then. Why do you have this really exciting, empowering show? What made you start that for a start?
Well, because I really wanted to be able to get the message out to as many people as possible that, because with the Patricia Jo Grover show, we turn believers into achievers. And when I say believers, people, the first thing you have to do is you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you are worthy,
Mm,
that you are capable, and that you're not in this alone.
yeah.
Because women especially, we everybody has issues with fears and limiting beliefs. If people say that they don't, they're fibbing you, because we're only human. We all have
Yeah.
them. It's just how we deal with them. So with my show, I believe it helps to encourage, educate, and empower people when I have guests that come on and they will share their stories of struggles that they may have had in their personal or professional lives and
Mm,
how they made it through, because we all have had them.
yeah.
And just to hear that and hear those stories being shared helps people take the next steps to be able to move forward for themselves.
Yeah.
So that's what, that's where it all came from, is for just to spread the message, that we are all, every single one of us, you know we'll have things that life happens to every single one of us, whether we're ready for it or not. um
Yeah.
I teach, one of the things I teach my clients is to put planning and scheduling days into your calendar, because when you have that planning day and you check your measurables and check where you are with your budgets, and when I talk about budgets, I'm talking about time, money, and energy,
Mm,
and keeping yourself on track with those budgets, because I am a person who has the tendency of putting too much on my own plate,
yeah.
and that can cause self-sabotage,
Mm.
because I am a go-getter. I want to achieve, I want to accomplish. And so I'll say, yeah, I'll do that, I can do that, I can do that. And then if I get too much, right, get too much on the schedule, and then things, you know go undone, or get out of control. So by having that planning day in my schedule, and my planning days are Sundays, it helps keep me on track and from not getting too derailed with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you've outlined very much what I think women around the globe actually deal with that, because there's this nature, I think, this feminine quality that just says, oh yeah, I'd love to help you. I could do that. I want to be lovely. I want to be helpful. I don't want you to think I'm not a nice person. Then we just seem to have this tendency to, not saying that men don't, but to get overloaded. And it's usually from a wonderful intent, isn't it? It's usually from I want to help you. And there's no doubting that, but it's very easy to then get totally swamped. And then we're the ones, not the person we've helped, who have those moments when we're crying because we're just stressed and we're over it and everyone's needing us and you've just got no time for yourself. I think,
Right.
yeah.
Right, exactly. But also, Annie, I am a leader. I lead by example. I'm not a pusher and I'm not a puller.
Yeah.
I lead by example. So if I want something for someone because I can see it in them,
Yeah.
it's hard for me not to want it more for them than they want for themselves. And
Yeah.
that's a mother woman thing too. But it is hard to do that. So that, keeping a balance on, not being the pusher or puller, because that I don't have the time or energy for that. So choosing to lead by example and having people see I'm walking my own talk.
Yeah.
Daily, and that's the thing. So I think I am helping more people by doing that and having people watch me do this.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's
and
what we need.
that's one of the things for the show too, is for people to see I'm doing, and I'm sharing struggles, like I said, with putting too much on my own plate, or different things that may come across as I'm going through my journey, to be able to share it with people.
Yeah. 100%. And I love that about you. And I certainly needed to learn that too. I had the real breakthrough in my business when I actually, just started sharing, being comfortable to share more about, my struggles, or, that's right. I had two sets of twins, as you know, in 2 years.
Right,
And it's like
right.
going, and then so the fact that I kind of soldiered on, and people went, oh, she's too good. Like, how does she not complain? How does she do? So I thought I was showing, I'm coping, I'm doing things, but when I actually then started going, oh, guys, it's actually really hard, all of a sudden I went, oh, tell me more. What, not that they want to hear your struggles, they actually want to hear the journey. They want to hear the
Right.
shifts, right? And that's what your clients would love to hear from different people. They actually
Right.
want to go, oh, here's a woman being really honest and real. And I'm hearing about that issue that she had, and I've had that sort of issue. I connect,
Right.
and then I can see the shift that happened, or the problem solving. Or for you, it's very much around, well, what are your goals? How are
Yeah.
you going to achieve those? So I think
Right.
that's
Right. And
abs-
but I didn't just get to where I am by not having had to figure this out
yeah,
myself too. So
yeah,
I can be able to help people because I had to learn how to help myself. And what I learned over the years from having mentors, coaches, and watching, going to people's courses, and those are all
yeah,
things that we all learn from, that make us who we are, and
yeah.
struggles that we've been through ourselves. So
And I think that's what adds that element of incredible value for those who are looking for a coach, and they do get a woman of more our age.
right.
One, you're actually not just getting that coaching, but you're actually getting, that's right, the 50 years of learning and experience, and what has worked, what hasn't worked, not just for
Right.
us, but for all of those in our network that we've also learned off their experience, right?
Right.
And the
Right.
coaching that we've received, and it's just so much value. So how
Right.
did you and another thing I'll just pick up for the listeners as well, you went and said, Sunday is your goal setting day, and that's a classic, because for us at our stage of life, we could be quieter there. We've got the full 7 days to work with. And so I'm a very much like that too. I'll do a Saturday or a Sunday and I'll have a time of, some of them will be social media preloading, or some of them will be planning out my goals and strategies because I can, because my kids are now growing. Whereas there'll
Right.
be other people listening who will be like, oh my God, like as if I could do anything on Sunday, I've got to take the kids to the zoo or
Right. Right. It doesn't have to be
and so,
Sunday,
yeah,
but
exactly. So it's about saying what works for you, ladies, in your schedule, in your 7 days, there will be a time, whether it's whatever it is, it's not about what other people do. It's about, finding that time for you and valuing the importance of it. I think we need to start
yes.
then redirecting you back to share, well, why is it so important? And that will then lead now into your business and goal setting and why it's so important.
Right. And just think of this again, it doesn't have to be specifically Sunday, but carve out your weekly planning day that you can line things up. And
Yeah.
what I teach people, and you and I had this conversation before, what I teach people is your A, B, C, D, and E.
Mm-hmm.
A is absolutely have to do. B you have to do. C, it's got to get done. D is delegate. And E is eliminate.
Mm.
So, go through what you have on your list, do the A, B, C, D, E,
Yeah.
but then also then do your sequencing, your 1, 2, 3 in order. So when you have those things, in order of which things need to be done in order to be able to move on to the next.
Mm.
So that will help you. And I know so many people say, oh, that sounds like so much work.
Oh.
But I will tell you, on the other end, you will have more time available for yourself and your children.
Oh,
I promise you, you
I
will have more
agree.
time.
I
And,
agree. Because how
and
much time and energy do those things that you should have delegated or that you should have even eliminated, when you have those moments and you go, oh my God, like, why did I do whatever task for 5 years, 10 years?
right,
And I
just being
actually
busy, being busy.
being busy. It's crazy, right?
Right, right. And one of my favorite, Dwayne Dyer, and actually, yeah, Dr. Dr. Wayne Dyer. Um, with him, he says, you never see too many people walking, that extra mile is pretty empty. There's not too many people out there doing that extra mile. Well, it's
Yeah.
and really I want to be clear and share with the viewers. It's not the people that are the high achievers that are out there walking the extra mile once they're up there.
Hmm.
You know what it is? They're walking the extra mile behind the scenes, and they're doing this work and this planning and this stuff prior to. And
Yeah.
this is where people get confused and lose that. Yes, the high achievers, they are doing all the systems, the planning, the calendaring, the routines. They
Mm.
have gotten those down, created those positive and those good habits, got rid of the bad stuff, and they focus on mindset and keeping and keeping everything positive and surrounding themselves with the people that are like-minded and
Mm.
can be supportive and be
Mm.
accountability buddies. And that's the thing. Even the biggest names have mentors. Even the
Yeah.
people that are high in their game, they have mentors. And a lot of people don't understand that no matter where you are, we all have people that we need to go to
Yes.
for support and information and
Oh,
everything. We don't have all the answers. We don't have
I
all the
know, what a
answers.
revelation. It's like, oh my gosh, that's right. We don't always know, or we shouldn't, because I'm a big believer for you should, as soon as you've achieved that goal and you've sat there for a while, and absolutely milk it and celebrate it and woohoo it and everything. And then what is next? And
Right.
if you're not feeling a little bit uncomfortable because you're not stretching yourself. That's a bit disappointing, because
Right.
while we think that mountain is huge, and it is to start, and then you finally get there, there is always something else, which doesn't have to
Right.
be a negative a climb or
Oh,
whatever.
no.
It's just an opportunity, right? So
Right. I
even
mean,
that's it.
wouldn't it be
Yeah.
boring? Wouldn't it be boring if you got to where you wanted to get? Oh, well, there's no more. I guess I
Here I
can.
am now.
Yeah, yeah. What do I do?
That's it.
What do I do? So
That's
so
right.
that's so true.
Oh,
It is for people. Um, I guess it's because I have so much curiosity, and I teach people. Your curiosity has to be greater than your fear, it's not that I'm an unsatisfied person, or I want gimme, gimme, gimme. It's not that. It's just, what else is there?
yeah, it's
What else is out
interesting, isn't it? It's like that. When you watch kids, I watch my granddaughter now, and it's really great having a little back in the home, because you suddenly go, that's right. They're always like, but what's around there, and
there?
what's next,
Yeah.
and everything is an opportunity, and it's a bit exciting.
Yes.
And that's right. Once you know everything, you can sit back and go, yep, that's it. And then you watch them with such delight, and that's right. How do we activate that? We've both got that curious nature, haven't we?
Hmm.
In spades. How do we
Yes.
activate that? Or why do we think people squash that curious nature? Because that's a big factor, isn't it? We get excited by it, but a lot of people, it triggers fear. They don't want to have that.
Right. And it is fear, but I don't know exactly if it is their own belief window. And that's what I think is, some people, it's at the core, that they don't feel like they are worthy of having more,
Mm,
or better, or a better future, whether it be, um y- y- you know when people measure success, and that's the thing I say, don't uh, don't compare yourself to others. So I don't compare myself to you. I don't compare myself to other people that do what I do. I'm on my own journey and everything. So I attribute, and my success is what I choose that my success is going to be. So if I choose that I'm not going to be successful this year unless I make $500,000,
yeah.
for or whatever. I can choose whatever it is that I want my success to tell me that I'm successful at,
Yeah.
for 2021. Now, the Boston Marathon, if I were to join the Boston Marathon, okay, if I joined the Boston Marathon and I made it one city block, I would be successful.
That's pretty
Okay.
good.
So what I'm telling everybody is, just think of yourself, make the goal, or make what your level and what you would consider successful yourself, because the most
Yeah.
important thing is to be happy with yourself, and what you're doing, and your choices and decisions you're making to get you
Mm,
there.
mm.
So again, for me, I would be proud of myself if I did join the Boston Marathon and I did run a city block. To me, that would be a big win.
Yeah.
So you have to discern, make those decisions yourself.
And I think that's one of the hardest things for people to rewrite the narrative on, that view publicly that success is always, climbing to the top of the mountain, a certain
Right.
salary, a certain position, a certain label, even for some women thinking you've got to be married, or
Right.
have a partner, or whatever success is. And that's why I love this program, and I love interviewing women like yourself, because that's right. Once you get to an understanding that success is whatever you determine it to be, it's in your terms. That's right. It
Right.
doesn't matter what someone else wants, because someone could be deliriously happy with, a certain amount of money, and for you just kind of go, yeah, but I'm not motivated by that. Or they would
Right.
be so excited about getting a certain position, whereas for you
Mhm.
go, oh my gosh, like how many hours of work, and I wouldn't see my family, and I wouldn't have that
Right.
flexibility. Whereas
Right.
that's right, so what actually is it that determines success? And
Well,
then that can change, right? That can
exactly,
change over the years.
exactly. So pre-COVID, talking about and doing what we do, whether I'm speaking, in front of large groups or, doing events and everything. Pre-COVID, I was like, oh man, I really don't want to have to be traveling and living out of a suitcase,
Yeah.
and doing that. That does not, and that is not
Doesn't excite
pleasurable to me at all.
you.
That's something I don't want to do. Not that I wanted COVID to happen and to be able to do what I'm doing, as much speaking as I'm doing internationally, as well as in summits and
Yeah.
everything. This has given me more exposure to be able to get out there, because we're
Of
doing a lot more
course.
this way.
Yes.
But I didn't, that's not the lifestyle that I wanted. I still wanted to be able to bring a positive spin and give women the opportunity to really live outside the box and reach their fullest potential,
Mm.
from no matter which way I did it. If people are only reading my book as the tool that I wrote it to be, or getting to watch my show, or whatever the case may be. So to me, it's just being able to touch people's lives. And the most rewarding thing is when you hear people come back and say, oh wow, I listened to you, I read your book, and to know and have them come back and say, it made a difference for me.
Yeah.
You made a difference in my, I mean, right there, I mean, that's an
That's
Emmy
it.
award to me.
That's
That's an
right.
Emmy,
I know, right? As an author, as a fellow author,
right.
it just brings tears to your eyes,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's it.
I'm
Why does someone even sit down and write a book on that topic? So let's first of all give a plug for your book. What's your book called?
Okay, it is Living Outside the Box, the
Mhm.
Goal Achievement Strategist Guide to Reaching Your Full Potential.
All righty. So
So
living outside the box. And so
yeah,
Patty sits down and goes, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write it living outside the box, right? So when you have actually got to whatever stage in your life and then decided this is my thing and this is what I'm an expert in and I'm putting this out to the universe, and then someone then goes and says, Patty, I just want to tell you, I read your book and oh my gosh, it had all of these effects on my, it changed my world. It rocked everything. That
right.
seriously does bring tears to your eyes, doesn't
Oh
it?
yes. Oh yes.
You
Oh
just
yes.
go,
It
oh,
really,
that's why I wrote it. I wanted
yeah.
to change one life, right?
Well, and not only that, but I had to say, and I have to tell you, Annie, because of now being a Grammy,
Yeah.
and what, because I didn't write the book until after I had turned 50. I had
Yeah.
started with, I had notes and everything for years, but when I decided I was going to start
Thanks,
pulling
Sam.
it all
Yeah.
together. But being a grandmother, and what do you want to leave your grandchildren? Well, we know you could leave them vehicles, you could leave them property, you could leave them money, but really, what is the best thing you can do for a child? To me, it's teach them how to read. Okay, once you teach them how to read, they can do almost anything. Of course, now there's YouTube videos that help people along too. But what we have learned in life, being a mother, being grandmother, but life situations have helped us grow, and we've gained wisdom,
Yes.
and to be able to do that. What do you want to do for your children? You want to keep your children from having to go through difficulties that you went through,
Mm.
or taking the long way around. So you want to be able to help guide and direct them.
Yeah.
Well, to do that for your kids is one thing, but usually your kids don't usually listen to you as well as they listen to other people and life experiences.
Yes.
So, but having grandchildren, that made me think of, okay, how can I put what I have learned in life into a format that would be easy to follow, and once they become of age and they can read and stuff, they can use this. And so what I did is I wrote the book as a tool
Mm.
to goal achievement. So at the end of each chapter, there's assignments. So it's something that everybody can follow. I've worked with kids. I've been hired by parents to work with their children. I've worked with as young as middle school and high school students with using my book as the tool. But I also, the book is also used by people that have retired from their jobs, have had a hobby that they're now turning into a business.
Yeah.
So it's the tool one, and it's a system. A system works and that's the thing. It's a system. It's a tool to be used to work through the process. And once somebody does it and they get used to how it goes, they can just keep continuing that process
I know, right?
for any goal that they're trying to achieve.
Mm,
I've just taken it. It's not anything that none of us have ever been exposed to.
mm.
But what I've done is just broken it down into very, again, so simple that it seems hard. You know what I mean? That just like the stuff that you and I have talked about, breaking things down, and with the calendaring and with the planning, it seems like a lot of work, but actually
It's
in the
not.
long run, it's not.
Exactly. And a lot of it is just getting used to new habits. It's all habit forming, right? And then so when you do it, and then it's actually really easy to assess and monitor what you've done and then to sort of do it again. The hardest thing is like getting into exercise or doing something you haven't done for a while. Those first few weeks are the hardest, right? Because you're actually telling your body and your mind and all of your natural default habits that I'm changing it. And they're really comfortable where they are. That's why they've been there, right? They've bunkered
Right.
down, right?
Right.
They're not gonna give up without a protest. So
Right.
that's yeah, it's easy to say, oh, this is going to be more effort than it's worth. Whereas that's right. It's not. It's not.
Right. And that's just the same for all of us. I've never been a small girl.
Mm,
I've always been a bigger girl, but I'm healthy, and I'm content with where I'm at. Yes, I would like to lose some pounds, but I'm not unhealthy,
mm.
with that
Sure.
aspect. But I do believe, and I do teach people to put yourself first.
Mm,
Now with this being said, when I teach people to put yourself first, I say put your health, which is, and breaking that health down into your physical health, your spiritual health, your mental health, and your financial health.
yeah.
And by putting ourselves first and really thinking of all those things, because if we can't be strong for ourselves in those categories, how can we be strong for anybody else? If we don't fill our cup, we don't have anything
Yeah.
to spill out to give to anyone else.
Mm,
But also financially, if we're not financially sound and secure and feel comfortable with where we're at, how can we help our kids, or
exactly.
whatever like that? So it all comes from that thinking of yourself, putting yourself first. If you're on the airplane, what do? They say put your own mask on and then help.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's the same
It's
the same
true,
thing.
isn't it? It's so true that, and I think when we started and you shared that default behavior is to sort of help others, help others, help others, and just be giving out, giving out, giving out. And that's why those people, you look at them and just go, you're so busy, but what are you doing? And you don't look that happy. You look, and then they'll complain that they're exhausted and everything is so overwhelming. And then they'll look at almost us chilled out ladies going, well, why don't you look like that? And it's kind of like going, well, that's right, because we understand the value on actually stopping, pausing. Look, when you are full, it's actually really easy to then give out
It,
intentionally.
it just it just
It
spills out. There's
spills,
nothing we
right?
can do.
Exactly.
There's
It's
nothing
just
we can do
like,
about it.
oh, sure, and then it's like it's sort of it's a weird shift, but go for it, ladies. Listen to Patty, on this is a real truth that it is so worth it, because you'll then suddenly go, well, because you will choose busy. You choose what to be, we've all got 24 hours in the day.
Right.
And so we can choose our busy or not. I don't even like the word busy. I like intentional action.
Right.
And so, but we're all doing something, even if we're just lying on the couch watching Netflix. And so what is it? So let's unpack you a little bit more then, Patty. What's your
Yeah.
background? How did you get to this stage, and go, I'm all about goal setting. This is my thing. What was your background and why did it influence you so much to make this your area of expertise and passion?
Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready? No. It. I'm the baby out of 8. Now,
Mm,
my mother was married 2 different times, so I have some half siblings and full siblings. But my mother came from, and she was the oldest. My mother was the oldest out of 5 children. And she was 9 years old when her mother died during childbirth of the last child. And she was gone. And my grandfather was an alcoholic, so he wasn't enabled to be able to take care of the kids. So she went into a children's home. And back then it was an orphanage, and it was run by nuns. And when kids got to a certain age, they got farmed out, and they went to live on a farm and worked. They worked for their board, for their room and board. So, but when she got older, she ended up with her first husband because a man paid attention to her, and she really didn't have, and with that. So that was that relationship. I'm not saying that, I'm just trying to lay out how I ended up how I am.
Yeah.
So she was that. So he was an alcoholic and abusive. She had four children with him, and then she was working. He ended up losing his job, so she was going back and forth and working all week long, and then coming home after work with groceries and all that stuff. And he ended up not paying attention to the children, not changing their diapers, and the children got taken away from her and went into foster care and all that stuff, and then she got the kids back. But in between, she had gotten pregnant with another child. And I didn't even know about that sister until she was 45, because she went right up for adoption right from the hospital. Nobody knew about that.
Wow.
And then she got out of that relationship, and then she ended up meeting my father. And then I am the baby after that. She had my sister, my brother, and I. My father was also an alcoholic and abusive. So because my mother didn't, relationship, she hadn't had, didn't know what love was supposed to be like, and all that stuff, into this whole relationship with my father. He was an alcoholic and abusive. So with that, when I was 3 years old, I saw my father come home. He would be physically and verbally abusive and manipulating of my mother. She was not allowed to have her hair done or wear makeup. She always had to have her hair in pin curls or rollers. She always had to dress frumpily with the socks down around her ankles. She had to wear his old socks that were stretched out, that wouldn't stay up.
Oh.
He wouldn't let her have her driver's license. When he would come home, he'd come home and get us. He'd drive us to the store. He'd park in front of the store so he could see inside. She wasn't allowed to lift up her head or make eye contact with anybody in the store, not even the cashier. He sent her to get his beer and cigarettes. If my mother lifted up her head as she went, or whatever, or talked, if he saw that, I knew it was going to be a bad night at home. So this is what it was. So at 3 years old, my sister, so out of this the three siblings, or myself and my two siblings, my sister was 13 years older than me, and my brother was 9 years older than I was. So I was a baby after all this, and everything. But so one night he came home from work. He had been drinking. He got my mother on the couch, and he strangled her unconscious. My sister got on the phone and was calling the police. My father told me to go to the kitchen drawer to get a knife out of the drawer. He was going to slit her throat. I ran to the kitchen drawer. I held myself up against that kitchen drawer, and my brother was then trying to grab his legs, my father's legs, so he couldn't get to the drawer.
Oh.
And my father would throw him off and kick him off, and my brother would try to go back and stop him. Well, by the time he got to the drawer, I'm a 3-year-old little girl in front of the drawer. He picks me up and throws me against the wall, and I slide down the wall. He gets the knife, and he's heading back to my unconscious mother laying on the couch. He gets to her when the police bust through the door to take him, and they took him to jail. So I remember that. And so, but again, my father wouldn't. So going back to my mother with the rollers and pin curls. So while he was at work, that's when we would take her rollers and pin curls out, and I would do her hair, and I would make her look pretty.
Oh, so
And
beautiful.
I would be so happy that, oh, I can, I want to make my mother feel good about herself.
Yeah.
I want to make her happy. I want, she deserves this.
Mm,
She's worthy of so much. She
mm.
does so much for others. So I would always do that. And she would sit there and cry. And I didn't understand at that age, I didn't understand, mommy, but mommy, I'm making you beautiful. And,
You've never had that.
and so that was difficult. But we always had to wet her hair down, wash her hair, and put it back in pin curls or rollers before he
Yeah.
came home.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing. Well, I did not realize this, Annie, until just about a year ago. No, actually, no, it was just about a year ago that I didn't even realize the connection. But growing up, I had situations because of going what I went through with my father, that I have been married and divorced 3 times.
Hmm.
On my fourth husband, because of I did not have any experience of what a relationship was really supposed to be like.
Mm,
I went through difficult situations, and I could go on with that. But it wasn't until after my third divorce that I finally, at that point, I chose to take time out to learn to not only know myself, like myself, and trust myself, but I learned to love myself.
mm.
And so with all of that, and the other different things, that happened in from being younger in that situation, going through that, and how it affected, again, other parts of my life, and always wanting to um, grow, because I knew I did not want to have a life like I had experienced.
Yeah.
Everything could have gone differently.
It would just repeat. Yeah.
Right. And so with that, but also my mother, the only thing that she knew how to put a roof over my head and food in my stomach was what she had known herself. Was she worked at the um, state hospital, the mental hospital, so she would care for patients. So what she had to do to create income is she ended up being the very first adult foster home in where we lived. So we had a home with patients from the mental hospital.
Yeah.
So I grew up the only child in having people live in my house that would scream, bang their head against the wall, and rock. And with that, I had to help feed, bathe, and medicate these people. No kids would come over to my house and play.
Mm.
By the time I was 12, I found 2 dead bodies in my home from people. So when I say I had
Yeah.
a childhood like most people may not be able to believe, let alone conceive, because what comes along with that. So I learned from what I didn't want
Yeah.
to how I was able to do different things. So going back to the whole thing with my mother's hair and rollers and pin curls, I went to high school and beauty school at the same time. I became a licensed cosmetologist, and as soon as I graduated high school, and I worked for salons, and then I got into a management position with a place. I worked for companies like Matrix Essentials, which I'm sure you have in Australia as well. That I did education, and I taught how to um, to do the perms, the hair color, skincare, cosmetics. I did stage work. I did back, presentations with that. I worked for other cosmetic companies and did that same stuff, as well as I was a registered massage practitioner. So I did all that for many years. So with that, and how I got into that, again, it's because of knowing and wanting to make a difference and having women be able to feel better about themselves.
Yeah. You wanted them to
It,
feel
it,
beautiful.
it all
It
so
all
this
links,
I
doesn't it?
didn't figure this out until about a year ago, how
Yeah.
all this came to be, and why it's so strongly embedded in me.
Mm.
With that, and so from that, I chose to work for I went to work for Estee Lauder. I worked with Estee Lauder and one of the stores I worked in. I managed a Bath and Body Works store.
Yeah.
I had my own salon where I had six people working for me with all that facials, pedicures, manicures, body reps, body facials, all that
Whole
stuff,
wax. Yeah.
with everything. And then I ended up having my own line of skincare and cosmetics.
Wow.
So, with doing all that. Well, then, so with doing all that, and then being at that point, I ended up being a single parent
Mm.
and doing all that, and I had to have the side hustle, and there's nothing wrong with that, ladies, if you
No,
have to do that,
do it.
but I became a Tupperware lady. Just peel
Yeah.
the seal and get ready for a meal, or or interior homes and gifts. Hey, if you want to decorate your home, but you sell the stuff so you can get stuff to help decorate your home, you know,
Absolutely.
with all that stuff. But you know all these things. So I have learned so much over the years, and having that courage and having the consistency to keep on going. Don't let
Yeah.
anything stop you and getting where you want to be.
Mm.
So from that, I realized though that having the salon and stuff, I was self-employed, and being self-employed, it makes it difficult to have insurance and everything. So once my daughter got a little older, then I had to start looking at, we needed needed insurance and all that stuff. So then I went to work for corporate America and working with um the other stores. But I went to work in for Avon Products Incorporated, and I managed over 400 women, helping them. And
Mm.
I worked I wasn't a representative. I worked for the company, teaching people how to run their businesses, start their businesses, do the different things, do skincare and cosmetic parties to promote themselves and have better sales,
Mm.
with all those things. So again, it all ties back to, why did I want to, and why did I choose to go that direction? It was simply because the difference that it could make in a woman's life.
Isn't that
So again, so this,
wow.
it gives you goosebumps
It
when you
does.
really stop and think about that. But you and I had a conversation at one point, and I said, I, at this point in my life, have chosen to be, and I say, live my life PJG style, because my P is Patricia Jo Grover. Well, purposeful, joyful, and grateful. And to
Mm.
me, that is the trifecta. And so where all those circles meet, that's my area of bliss. And I know I'm doing what I am supposed to be doing, and I don't have any ands, ifs, or buts about it. So
Yeah.
when you ask me how I got to where I am, that's where it is. But I didn't even realize until just like a year ago how it all tied together, and
Mm.
why I'm here doing what I'm doing. Because that, I didn't even figure that out until after I wrote the book.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. First of all, thank you so much for sharing that. Incredible. It's a story for us, but
I
it's your
mean,
life.
right,
It's your
and
truth. It's
there's so much more to it,
and
but
there's
there's
so
no
much
sense.
more.
Yeah, but instead of taking taking that and focusing on the negative, because there was so much, but
Exactly.
right, but I couldn't and can't. And I know other people, and some other people may have, if they had that, they might have not come out of it and made the choices and decisions, because I say the choices and decisions we make is what designs our destiny.
Yeah.
And it is, there's, even today, with what, when we're talking, even today, with what's going on in the world, with political, all that stuff, whatever choices and decisions that we make, or and how we deal with this, it's going to make a difference in what happens to our own lives tomorrow.
Yeah. So true. And I just think it's incredible. It's incredible. Two things there. It's incredible when those light bulb moments happen, And so for some people, it's like, oh, yeah, well, you seem to understand your purpose and what you're all about and this and that. I don't know. And it's kind of like, it's almost permission, ladies, to, yeah, sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we have to, yeah, like you in your situation, go
You got
through
to
three marriages, write a book, get to 50 and go, oh my gosh, I had a
yeah,
moment and I saw my 3-year-old self getting smashed against a wall in an uncomfortable position. And oh my goodness,
yeah,
why have I always now attracted myself to making women feel beautiful, making them feel loved,
Right.
becoming a
Worthy.
confident
Right.
woman who can train others, whether it's in beauty or Tupperware or whatever. All of those skills that you learn over your lifetime were actually, intentional by design, but not from your mind, right?
Exactly.
Because this is where people often get these surprises, but to others who know them, probably not very surprising, because you're actually operating in your natural skill set and your pure heart and passion. But you kind of go, oh, well, I just have to be here at this time. It's not really where I want to be. Whereas all of those steps have clearly taken you to the most beautiful position you can be at this stage of your life.
Right.
To know that you absolutely love women believing to achieve, right? You've got to
Right.
believe to achieve. You've got to believe that you're worth it. You've got to believe that you do have, that it is possible. You've got to believe in in the value in what you can then give to yourself and to those you love and to those you bless, whether it's in business or in your family or whatever your situation is. And so all of that journey that you shared, although hard, and many people do have hard situations, and it's not a
Right.
competition in the hard,
No.
right? What
Nope.
it is for me, it's actually saying we still have choices. We have those moments when we stop and we reflect, and we have an opportunity to go, okay, well, I either choose to move towards my positive embrace future, or I look back and I anchor myself in my past and I become the victim of that. And,
Exactly.
so it is a choice. And
Yep.
many people I know, and I have people struggle with, but it's not a choice. It is a choice. It is a choice every day, the way we approach it and approach our future and approach our life and approach ourselves, how we show up, as we know, every single day.
Right. And we have to show up for ourselves before we can show up for anyone else. And
Yeah.
that goes back to filling to filling the cup, because there is no better person to be there for than
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
There really isn't.
And so many women will find that sort of it feels selfish. They'll come back to me and go, but I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be a selfish person. And that often is because we've had generations of, our mums or our grandmothers who've told us don't speak well of yourself. That's pride. Pride
Right.
becomes before the fall. That's a selfish view you've got to give out. And that's where where it's sort of deeply embedded, isn't it? But
Yes, it is. Yes, it
it's
is.
not selfish at all.
It's not selfish at all. And I go back and I watch shows like I'm doing with you, and I watch myself on my own show, and I go back and I say, I don't really think or feel that I'm coming across of that I'm tooting my own horn, because to me that's not. It's just I am sharing how at peace and how comfortable I feel with myself,
Mm,
that I want others to be able to experience the
yeah.
same thing. So to me, it's that overflowing of, hey, why wouldn't anyone want to be able to feel the same way? To me, that's a gift. That's a gift that I'm trying to give. And um I I just want everybody to have it.
I know, and I can almost feel that just coming through the atmosphere here to me of
Yeah.
I can almost feel you going to your back to your 20-year-old self, sweetheart, I'd love to
Yeah.
just teach you what I've learned, right? I'd
Exactly,
love to
exactly.
go, you've got to also have your own journey, but you
Right.
also go the learnings of you will have these choices, and then these will be your options, and these will be, this is your potential. So, in one way, as older, wiser women now, it's really easy for us to go, oh, we want to save you from having those hard times. And unfortunately, it's the challenging times that's how we learn, right? We know what we don't
Exactly.
want more than what we do want most of the time.
Right. Right. And
However,
exactly.
there is so much learning there that you just go, but you don't have to do all the hard knocks. You can have
No.
those aha moments earlier when you have more, you better mentoring and coaching and self-awareness, and actually take time out to invest in yourself, right?
Mhm. Exactly, exactly. And they're all things that we learn And I've told you before, my philosophy on life is like it's like a jigsaw puzzle, and that's why the look of the puzzle pieces on the box,
Yeah.
because our life, Annie, our life when we're first born, no one knows what the picture on the puzzle box is going to look like at the end. We don't know what it's going to look like. It's actually throughout our life, it's a collage of, hey, this was this part of my life, this was this next phase, this was, so it's a collage actually at the end.
Yeah.
And it's all a journey, and we're all on our own journey. We might be at the same parts of our journey, of what we're going through right now, the people that you have in your life, but
But it's still
everybody's
unique,
different, right?
even though we started this show and like, yeah, we are total soul sisters. I feel so much connection because you're in very similar mindset and area and personal passion. But you're so unique. We've got different, so many other variables that we haven't
Right.
tapped into, other parts of our lives, or different family situations, or different health issues going on with different
Right.
people and different challenges. And so that's where it's so important, I think, to align yourself with, if you're looking for a mentor, or you're looking for a coach, to align yourself with, this woman really resonates with me in so many
Right.
ways, but also to realize you're not going to become Patty. You're not going to become
Exactly.
Annie. You're actually
Exactly.
going to find yourself in that
Hmm.
experience. And that is more than enough. It's
Right.
more than enough. And that is success,
Right.
As
Exactly.
you said, I
Exactly.
love the way you framed what success is, that it is just what it means to you in your terms. I think that's as simple as it is, right? It's just knowing what your terms are.
Right. And your own, and setting your own measurables, setting them for yourself.
Yeah. And being brave enough to measure them, you know?
Well, yeah, that we have to do that. And and sometimes it's, for the good, the bad, the ugly. It is what it is, and we're not going to change that needle of where something is unless we determine. And sometimes it's painful, and
Yeah.
to dig deep and find. And that's the same thing, like when I'm helping people on their journey to be achieving a goal. Nobody just gets from here to there just like that. We have to determine where we are, and sometimes that's the most difficult part, is to determine where we are at. Sometimes that is very painful, when we have to realize, oh, well, we need to learn this, we need to
Yeah.
change this, and all that stuff, to be able to get to where we want to be.
I know we
So
want
there's
the quick fix. We go, oh, but
right.
that's going to take time and pain. And it's like, oh dear.
Right. So you have your point A and your point B. And that's what I help people with as a goal achievement strategist, is, getting from that point A to point B. But you have to know what that is to begin with. And
Yeah.
you have, and for women, it's most, the difficulty comes from, again, having them feel like they are worthy and that they are capable, because everybody is. And it's just how we change their mindset to this, to actually realizing that, but then allowing themselves to dream,
Mm.
so that they know they are worthy of more, they can have more, they can do more, they can be more, you know because you can, if that's what you want. Some people may not want, they may be perfectly content and happy where they are.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly all right. So that goes back to what we were saying about what is success to you. If somebody has no desire to have more, be more, do more, then they don't. You can't make them
No,
want that,
you can't.
you know and so that, but I help people with the whole dream. And I think I told you before about having teaching about sensory vision. So you can, when you close your eyes, and the dream that you want to achieve, when you can close your eyes and you can see it, you can feel it, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can touch it. But that feel is not just the physical feel of something, but it's the emotional feel of it.
Mm.
When you connect your purpose and your why with that sensory vision, you're
Yeah.
unstoppable. You know, you
Abs-
know and so that I just gave you pieces of the different things that I do, and working with clients, and really it, putting all those pieces, and I go back to the puzzle pieces, because that's what it is. It's
yeah.
all putting those pieces together.
Mm. Oh my goodness, we could chat all
I know.
day. I'm
I
thinking that's gone so quickly today. So amazing. And I knew that would happen because you're just so fascinating and beautiful. How do people find you, Patty?
Well, they can go to patriciajogrover.com
Mhm.
and they can find everything out about me there. If they're interested in being a guest on my show, actually, all of my social media and the link to become a guest on my show is at www.pjg.vcardinfo.com.
Okay.
So yep, so they can go right there. And I have a gift for everybody if they want a gift from me. If you text the word goal, GOAL, to 866-926-4020, I have gifts right there for everyone.
You're such a
So
giver.
yeah. Well, and what better time right now
Yeah.
really is to prepare yourself.
Yeah.
And again, I am a lesson giver
Mhm.
because and it really does. You put the work in ahead of time, you will be so much further ahead in the long run. So to be able to do that, to make 2021, get you
Masterful.
out of this hole
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
make it be fantastic.
Yeah. Fantastic. It's been such a delight having you on my program. So thank you for sharing with me. And
Yes. Oh,
oh,
it's always wonderful. We just have to get together and have a tea time, so,
I
and
know, right?
that's
We will
fantastic.
definitely be catching up again shortly and hopefully presenting on something together.
Yes.
It's all opportunities around the world. That's it. Just if you lean into something that works and resonates for you, then the next opportunity will find itself. Thank you so much for coming on my show
Yes.
today. It's been such a delight, and yeah, all the best. So everyone, if you're
Yes.
interested in finding out more about Patricia Jo Grover, go to her links. They'll all be on my YouTube and also on my podcast platform. And yeah, I wish you all the best in your future success.
Oh, well, the same to you, and I know we'll be right there, just arm in arm.
True sisters, thank
Yes.
you.
All right. Mwah.
Mwah. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes and, of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.